Okay? So now that you have those, let's talk about specifically the riff involved and the chord forms or the chord voicings. So, we start this song with a pickup note. And if you can't get the pickup note, that's okay. You can just start right on 1 with your A chord. But for you intermediate and advanced players, I want you to kick it off like this. Okay? That's simply the open E string, the second fret of that E string, to the open A string. All right, so there's the riff that we're going to learn. The riff is off the A major, so I make the A major with 1 finger. And then if you were going to make a suspended 4th, you would put your finger on the B string 3rd fret. But that's not exactly what it is. It's a trill. Hear how I'm hammering on with my 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string and pull off. Hammering on and pulling off to get those notes. That's a trill. Then after the trill, we're going to hit the note A on the G string of the 2nd fret, which is already in that chord. If you just hold the chord, it's going to be there. Hear how I hit the trill, then the note A. Then you go right to the E chord. You hear me do 2 strums there? I actually did a down strum and an up strum. Right to F sharp minor. Now, sometimes you'll see me not use a bar chord and I'll just strum the 4 strings like this. See how I just did a 4-string version? That's okay to do. But if you want to play the whole bar chord, it's going to work fine. Now I do a little walk down into the next chord. The next chord is a D chord. So before we hit D, I do this little walk down. That's accomplished by taking your 3rd finger off the D string so that the 1st finger has the D string. In fact, the 1st finger has all 4 strings at that point. If you're playing a bar, it would be like this. Just taking off my 4th finger, and that creates the walk down. And it walks right into the D chord. Okay? Now, in the intro, it does this. Okay, so the intro resolves on A, so it's not like the singing verse. So the intro is something a little different. So let's examine this B minor 7th. It's a jazz chord, so you might not be familiar with this form, but it's really cool. Put your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. Then put your 2nd finger on the same fret of the G string. Put your 3rd finger on the same fret of the E string. Now put your 4th finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. You'll notice that the D string gets muted naturally. So you're only hearing. Now what you want to do is let the open E string ring with that. It's a really cool sound. That is a B minor 7th / E, because E is the bass note. Now, for the intro, we need one fancy move here. If you switch your 1st and 2nd fingers so that your 2nd finger is in the 2nd fret of the A string and your first finger goes on the first fret of the G string, you'll have a beautiful chord that sounds like this. And that's really just a form of E seventh with an F sharp in it. So it'd be an E ninth or an E seventh add ninth. Doesn't matter what it's called. It's just a really nice chord that comes off of here and resolves on A. So that's the intro. That only happens on the intro and the ending, and I believe after the guitar solo. But usually, we're going to end up on the E chord. So it goes D, A, E is what it usually does on the singing verses. Now, there's a move that comes off the E chord. It's not hard. It's really fun to do. If you would just strum the E, and then what you do is just strum 3 strings, the G, B, and E. From there, you're going to go the 2nd fret and just hit 2 strings, G and B strings. Now you're going to go the same 2 strings, G and B string, 1st finger, 3rd fret, 2nd finger, 4th fret. Some of you will recognize that as the extension off of the E. And it sounds like this. Again, strum, go, and one more time. That's the build up that goes back into the A. Okay, so let's put it together. I hope you're with me. That is the first 2 lines of the singing verse. Okay? So, we're now ready for the second part of the verse, which starts on F sharp minor and goes to a C sharp. Now, this is a really cool voicing of C sharp that's going to work beautifully in the song. So let's get this. That voicing is right here. Now, in order to get this right, there's a couple ways you can look at this C sharp. First of all, you could make a D chord and move it down a fret. And then you could put your 4th finger on the D string of the 3rd fret, and you'll have this. That's perfect. Again, we took a D chord, we moved it down a fret, we put our 4th finger on the 3rd fret of the D string. Just strumming the 4 strings that your fingers are on. Now I elect to play it differently. I play it so that my 1st finger is across 3 strings of the 1st fret, my 2nd finger goes on the B string, and my 3rd finger gets the 3rd fret of the D string. It's just a different fingering of the same chord. But why that C sharp is really important, that form of it, because it creates the walk down into the A 7th. Listen. You hear how that beautifully just descends into one chord after another? That's why you want to really get that voicing. If you can't get the voicing and you just want to play a bar chord, then you would go F sharp minor to C sharp to A 7th to F sharp 7th to B minor to B minor 7th / E. Okay, we're doing great. We're going to start putting this song together, and I'm going to teach you how to sing and play it.